So synesthesia is literally a crossing of two sensations or two. I'm not the scientific definition of it, but it's a crisscross, right? So it can happen with two different senses, and the combinations that happen with those two senses, there's many different ways they can combine. You know, I knew I had a sense of colors for letters and numbers all my life, but I didn't know there was a name for it, and I didn't know that other people didn't have it. Like, I thought everyone had it until I was working at a newspaper at the Daily News in New York, and I would have arguments with my boss about headlines, and I'd say that the headline was the wrong color even though it was in black. And he thought I was messing with him, and I didn't understand, why don't you see it the way I do? And it took a few years, and one day I came into work and there was an article from the Wall Street Journal on my desk from my boss that gave it a name. And so it was synesthesia, and I didn't find out there was a name for it until I was 31 years old. So once I had a name for it, I was able to do a lot more research on it. And there's a website called synesthete.org, where if you think you have synesthesia, you can go on and take some tests that they have created to basically assess how much of a synesthete you may be and what kind of synesthesia you have, because there's so many different types of synesthesia. I can't remember the exact number, but some people have it for colors and letters like I do, and that's called grapheme-colour synesthesia. Other people have it for time. A lot of people have it for music, so particular notes will sound, I don't have it for music, but my understanding is when they hear songs, they see colors. And then really rare people, and I know a few of them personally, when they hear a word, they taste it. So they taste names and words. It's crazy. My name, I don't particularly like my name either. It's very long and it's very saturated and kind of all over the place, but it does suit me. So once I started to really look at it and put out all the names of the people that I know, people with I's and E's in their names and L's, I tend to consider to be brighter or happier people, or just kind of more easygoing, because those to me are easygoing and light and bright colors. And people that have darker letters like O's or M's or S's, or I consider them to be really confident and just sturdy. And people that have an A in their name, I really like to get to know. It's weird. I feel like people with an A in their name have a hidden spark, and so I always ask them a bit more questions, because I'm like, what am I not knowing about you yet? It's a really funny kind of game that my head plays on me, but yeah, I think I do assign not bad personalities, just I approach people differently based on their name and how I want to get to know them. I didn't know that it was different. So, I grew up drawing pictures, and I love drawing calendars, and I also have synesthesia for days of the week and months of the year. So February is pink and Wednesday is yellow. So I did a lot of drawing as a kid and a lot of colors, and I do that now. I do illustration on the side just as something to keep my mind happy. For me, it affected me more in terms of math or trying to learn a new language. Math, especially like algebra and geometry, where you started to combine letters and numbers, that I think really messed with my head. And I spent several years trying to learn French, and I didn't have a lot of luck with it. And I really do blame the synesthesia for that. I think it was too much for me to try to put together and learn. So those are the subjects growing up that I think were affected by it. So I studied at Indiana University. I went to school for journalism because I was interested in writing, but once I got to college, I realized I was actually more interested in the visual storytelling part of it, and that's how my interest for writing combined with my interest for graphic design, and that's kind of my entire career. I've worked in newspapers and media, and now website design and product design. If I were to meet you at a party, right? And your name is Lori, right? Or what's a better example? Sumi, right? So I meet you at a party, Sumi, and 20 minutes later, I've met 20 other people and my mind is overwhelmed with all the people that I've met. I would come back to you and I would say 4 letters with an S and an M. And people would be like, what? And so sometimes I'll get the names wrong. Like if your name is a similar color to another name, then I will say, I can't think of one that looks like Sumi right now, but like Emily and Jill look alike to me because they're I's and E's and L's. That's how I get it confused. My mind remembers how many letters there are and what the colors are. And since some letters are the same color, like S is the same color as M, is the same color as W, is the same color as B, that makes it even more complicated in my head to remember. I had people that just didn't believe me, like they thought, you know, I was messing with them, and that's still how, you know. But once they, I think now that I have this tool to show them, and the article that I wrote about it, really explaining it, seems to be working. I think people are understanding it. It's backed up by a lot of science. There's some great sources online where you can read more about it. So it's 20 years ago, nobody'd heard of it. We're 20 years past that. The internet's, you know, of course, made everything accessible, so it's not that hard anymore. For years I thought I needed to design an app to show people how to do this, but an app is very expensive to build and maintain, and I'm not a coder, I'm a designer. So one day last year, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to draw out the letters of the alphabet and assign them colors and put it into a graphic design program and literally hand draw out on the computer all the names of all the people I know. And as I was doing it, it was really satisfying. It was weird because I'd never done that before. I'd never put names in front of myself visually. And as I did it, I was like, oh yeah, oh, that totally looks like her. Oh my gosh, that's exactly right, that's him. So I was doing it and I thought, okay, I need to put these up on a website in a gallery just so I can tell all my friends, okay, for years I've been telling you your name is bright and sunny, but now you can actually see it. So I started to put together that website with all of those images, and a friend of mine saw it and was so excited about it, and he worked with me on making the JavaScript that allows you to put in your name to see, you know, the correlation between letters and the colors that I see. The response has been wonderful. There's more than 2.2 million uniques since it launched in January. So it's really had a lot of people visiting, which is exciting to me. And it's, you know, it's so heartening because I've had so many people write me notes and say, I never knew there was a name for this. So I kind of feel like I'm paying back the universe for, you know, when my boss gave me that article that explained it to me. On the other hand, you know, it can be actually a little upsetting for other people that have synesthesia, because my colors are my colors. And if Sumi, if you had synesthesia, and A to me is red, but A to you might be blue, so to see your name typed out in my colors can be very, you know, challenging for a synesthete. So I feel for them, and I feel bad. So I want to make sure it's clear that, like, these are my colors, and it's not meant to define everyone's synesthesia. But so what I did was I made like a template that I put on the website where you can color in your own alphabet if you have synesthesia, or even if you're curious and you have kids and you want a little fun activity. But you can literally print out this template and color it in and cut it up and then arrange the words yourself.